gross, disgusting, just ew. Ever cringe at the sight of wet socks or question the sanity of someone who enjoys raisins in their cheesecake? Well, grab your favorite snack, nothing to be there I hope, because today we're diving into the captivating and, dare I say, disgustingly intriguing world of another basic emotion, disgust. And for my disgust-sensitive viewers, don't worry, we'll talk about disgust without watching disgusting things. Now let's embark on the journey of disgust theories, starting with a feeling we've all encountered, distaste. Have you ever felt so happy when you've received a chocolate bar, but then that joy was crushed because it turned out to be the dark, bitter kind? Or maybe you've experienced this unfortunate moment of having to down some bitter medicine that makes you want to vomit. If yes, then you can thank distaste for that. As we all know, we can differentiate various kinds of taste. The precious sweet that makes your day better, the sour that makes a great combo with sweet and sour candies, the saltiness from popcorn and chips on a great movie night, the umami that makes yummy meals, and the bitter that makes you want to spit the food out and vomit. So why bitter would be so associated with disgust? Well, the ancestral process for disgust is thought to be distaste, a form of motivated food rejection triggered by the ingestion of unpleasant tasting substances. Prototypically, those that are bitter. And why bitter? Because many toxins are bitter. So distaste has a clear and concrete adaptive function in motivating the avoidance of poisonous food. Distaste is our body's way of saying no to unpleasant tastes, especially the bitterness that often signals potential toxins. And speaking of bitterness, let's talk about the green veggie conspiracy. You know, the one that tries to convince us that they're good for us, but I've watched way too many cartoons to believe that. It must be some kind of scam to control us. Green veggies are evil. Duh, fine. Green veggies are actually a good example of how the bitter taste and distaste don't always work in our favor. It's just that some non-poisonous plants noticed that we avoid bitter taste and decided to use it as a defense mechanism against us. But don't worry, since the green veggies tried to make us abandon them through bitter taste, while our parents wanted us to consume that disgusting green, as a humanity we came up with some solutions. For example, Brussels are actually less bitter than they used to be, thanks to human crossbreeding them. And if the current greens are still too bitter for you, you can easily combine them with the more tastier food. This way, you can deceive your brain to eat healthy greens without the bitter taste making you want to spit it out. So while our taste buds might rebel against certain bitterness, our journey into the world of disgust doesn't stop here. It evolves, just like the bitter Brussels we now tolerate, at least some of us. Now, let's delve deeper into the body-to-soul preadaptation theory. Okay, so let's take a closer look at what disgust is. Like, is it any use for us besides avoiding poisons? Is disgust right when they make you feel disgusted after you have smelled your dirty socks that you found after a month of having looked for them? And why are they standing up as if some ghost was already wearing them? So as we've already noticed, there is a distaste, and when it comes to that oral road of getting infection, there's also core disgust. What stimulates that is feces, vomit, rats, maggots, spoiled food. Yikes. Let's not visualize that too much. Before you take something to your mouth, your other senses such as smell and sight can warn you if they see that this object is related to those mentioned triggers. I mean, eating a spoiled sandwich that has spent the whole summer in your school bag isn't the best idea. So you are right to get disgusted by that and throw it away. Moreover, thanks to that disgust, maybe next year you will actually remember to unpack your whole school backpack before vacation, so you don't have to experience that questionable pleasure ever again. However, there are other ways to get infected and sick. For example, you get infected through blood. So injuries, blood, bodily deformities can trigger blood injury kind of disgust. So we can stay away from that bloody stuff. Unless you're a vampire, then instead of disgusted you might get hungry. But knowledge gaps can still leave us vulnerable. It's like stranger danger, but on a microscopic level. Don't worry though, interpersonal disgust has your back. It makes you avoid contact with diseased or unfamiliar individuals, just to make sure you don't catch something from them. So if you're having a flu, then sorry, but I might get disgusted and stay away from you. You know, just in case the flu wants to make friends with me. Speaking of making friends, let's talk about a more intimate form of disgust, the one related to adult plays and preserving our species. You know what I mean, right? Anyway, through having that intimate time with others, you can easily get diseases through bodily fluids. So that's how disgust tries to protect us. There's also the evolutionary theory that we want to avoid having that pleasure time in specific situations. It's due to the risk of that infection, but at the same time we want to preserve our genes. That's why disgust often is very picky about our pleasure partners and often gets triggered by very old or very young partners, wrong species, wrong kind of pleasure time, and so on. And finally, we have moral disgust, when we get disgusted by violation of social and moral norms.
How dare you!
It is often believed that this type of disgust is unique to humans. The new functional role may be motivating the avoidance of individuals who violate social norms. They just don't seem to be good partners for interaction. Like, you know that cringe when there's that oddball who loves raisins in their cheesecake and tries to make friends with you? Yeah, you don't want to be associated with them. So moral disgust functions to motivate social distancing rather than physical distancing. It's to separate us socially from an individual who has committed a serious wrong, like convincing others that pineapple belongs to people.
How dare
But
you!
why do we want that social distancing? Well, those who are perceived as having committed moral sins and their allies might be at risk of being punished by observers and avoided. It's because others might think that we're gonna do the same, and we want to avoid it. So disgust comes to action, and by our reaction signals to observers that we condemn the wrongdoer's actions. Like, we don't support such disgusting things, so we won't do that. Such distancing could defend against being lumped in with the condemned individual during subsequent aggression by moral mobs. Following that, disgust intuitions act as inputs to wrongness judgment. Hence, people can use an expression of disgust as a reliable cue that other people oppose and moralize a given action. In turn, individuals can signal their opposition to an action by broadcasting a disgust display, even when no pathogen or intimate tie risks are present. So disgust can also function as a way to inform others about something that should be avoided. And now that we've explored various aspects of disgust, let's talk about why our faces contort the way they do when we're disgusted. Picture this. Your upper lip decides to do a grand lift, your nose starts winking like it's getting ready for a really intense workout, and the mouth is doing the gape like opening dance move. Add a dramatic lowering of the brows, and voila, you've got the classic ew expression. But hey, it's not just for show. Our face is a multitasking genius. It's not just signaling gross to the world, it's also working overtime to keep us safe. Think of it as a superhero defending the vulnerable mucous membranes of our eyes and nose from contact with contaminants. Wrinkling the nose and lifting the upper lip, it's like creating a fortress to block out potentially icky invaders. And that gape? It's not just for dramatic effect. It's preparing for a potential spit or vomit performance, ensuring anything already ingested gets a swift exit. And the increased salivation? That's our body's way of sending in the cleanup crew to flush out any lingering contaminated material. It's like our own personal sanitation system doing a victory lap. So there you have it, the secret life of your disgusted face. Turns out it's not just expressing you, it's a full-fledged defender of your personal space and well-being. Who knew our faces were such drama queens with a side hustle in hygiene? And that's it, the disgusting, fascinating truth behind disgust. If you've enjoyed diving into the basic knowledge of disgust, give that like button a satisfying click. It's like a virtual high-five for your brain. Now, before you click away, let me know if you want to learn more about when it comes to disgust. Are there disgusting topics that are still crawling on your mind? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, disgust can be a bully that makes you feel bad and prevents you from eating healthy. But disgust can also be a lifesaver, literally, and when it comes to your social life as well. So it's up to you whether you make disgust an enemy or a friend. Because even sadness can be your very good friend, while joy might become your villain. If you don't believe me, check this video. And for now, have a disgustingly nice day.